Hey everyone, welcome to another healthy living class. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to talk about 7 toxic consumables that we're probably all eating on some level every day. However, we do need to avoid these. So, without further ado, using vegetable oil sounds like a good choice. Reusable plastic food storage containers. Seems like you're doing the earth a fair turn if you're using them. Smoking a meat instead of deep frying it. Sounds like the healthier choice to me. Cinnamon is anti-inflammatory and high in antioxidants, so it must be good for you. Your brain, quote unquote, eats a form of sugar called glucose to fuel cellular activities in your body. So consuming some sugar is a good thing, right? And I know that fish is an excellent source of protein and fatty acids. So it's all the same thing. As long as I'm getting some kind of fish, I'm doing good, yeah? Um, no. You always have to do your due diligence. Check out the company you're buying from. Do they hire an independent to check the quality of their products? Are you really getting what's being advertised? Sometimes more is not better. It's just more. I would suggest quality over quantity every time. But since you're here, I'm going to go ahead and tell you the things that are better than others, and I'm going to steer you in the right direction. So let's move along. Getting down to business, here's what we're gonna talk about, and I'm going to share with you. Chemically refined oils, BPA and BPS, hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated, and trans fats, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, coumarin, added sugars, and fish. So, unlike oils from naturally oily foods such as coconut, avocado, olive oil, now there are others, but just to list those three. Unlike those, chemically refined oils from vegetables and some seeds such as corn, sunflowers, soybeans, cotton seeds, the list goes on. Those all have to go through a complicated process that involves using chemical compounds such as hexane to extract and purify them. This can also potentially produce cancer causing aldehydes directly into your foods, especially during deep fry. After doing my own research, I switched to using organic coconut oil for my high heat cooking, baking, and frying. And I use organic cold pressed olive and flaxseed oils for everything else, like making salad dressings and such. But generally speaking, you want a good balance of omega 3s and omega 6 oil. If you have to choose one over the other, choose omega 3s. The reason being is if you have more omega 6 in your system than omega 3, omega 6 overloads can cause other health negative effects. BPA and BPS. BPA was once commonly found in plastics and the lining of aluminum cans. It has since been mostly phased out of these things because of links to negative health effects. However, science has now replaced it with some things other than, but one specifically called BPS. It has very similar side effects, but is still widely used. Now, these can cause hormone disruptions, insulin resistance, as well as many other harmful side effects. Switching from plastic food storage containers to glass or stainless steel is a good alternative here. But make sure that if you continue to use your plastic food storage containers, never reheat the food directly in those containers, as almost all of your plastic containers, the older ones that you're still using, they're all going to contain that BPA in them. And when you heat up your food in them, it's going to leach into your food, and then you will eat those toxins. Hydrogenated, partially hydrogenated, and trans fats. These are all highly inflammatory and will contribute to heart disease. Trans fats also raises your bad cholesterol, which is LDL, and lowers your good HDL levels. If a serving of food contains less than zero point 0.5 grams of trans fat, by our FDA, legally it can be labeled as zero trans grams of trans fat, but it's not. It's still zero point 0.5 grams of trans fat. So, so frustrating what our FDA does. But I personally simply just went through my cabinets and I threw out anything in my house that had these oils in them. Then, as I went grocery shopping over time, I made sure to read their labels. If it was in there, I just didn't buy it. So sorry to have to wave goodbye to my sugar wafer cookies, but there it is. It can be tricky because it's in everything from crackers, candy, dry and liquid dressings, gravies, breads, even some of your seasonings in your in your herbs dra- um, drawers and cabinets. Look at them. You'd be amazed at how much it's in. So, buyer beware. Read your labels. If you choose to make only one change from this class, I would suggest it be this one. It can be so detrimental to your health in so many ways if you are constantly consuming these kinds of fats. Polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. Considered environmental pollutants, they arise from burning organic materials. They are in your grilled and smoked meats. These are some of the highest in PAHs, which can increase the risk of cancers. Meats cooked at high temperatures, especially above 300 degrees Fahrenheit, as in grilling or pan frying, or that are cooked for a long period of time, tend to form more PAHs. Cooking methods such as braising and slow cooking can reduce the PAHs in meats. PAHs have been found to be mutagenic. So, in other words, they cause changes in your DNA that may increase the risk of cancer. Research has found that PAHs are toxic and linked to an increased risk of breast, kidney, colon, and prostate cancers. So, coumarin is naturally present in many otherwise nutrient dense foods like cinnamon, celery, strawberries, and apricots. Plus, it's commonly used in the production of blood thinning medications and is often added to fragrances and cosmetics. Cassia cinnamon contains an extremely high amount of coumarin, which may increase your risk of liver damage or cancer if consumed in excess. High doses have been linked to impaired cognitive development and even cancer formation in both animals and human studies. Coumarin is a toxic compound found in high amounts in the three cinnamons I have listed on this slide. These types of cinnamon are commonly found in your grocery stores. Even a few teaspoons of these types of cinnamon can put you over the recommended daily limit. Contrary-wise, though, Ceylon cinnamon, spelled Ceylon, contains much lower levels of coumarin. Now, you will find a link to this kind of cinnamon. This is the one that I use. It's an organic Ceylon cinnamon. You'll find a link to it in my Healthy Living Resources page, which is on the homepage of my blog. I now make sure that all the spices that I buy, first and foremost, are organic and that the cinnamon specifically is Ceylon cinnamon. Sugar. Added sugars are in almost everything. Unless you're eating a straight vegetable, it's almost in every other food that you're going to eat. It can contribute to unwanted weight gain, development of type 2 diabetes, fatty liver disease, and so many other chronic conditions. Foods high in added sugar are also highly processed and have addictive properties. Added sugars includes words at the end like ose, so OSE, like fructose and dextrose. These comes in forms of syrups, also high fructose corn syrup, malt syrup, maple syrups, agave syrups, and nectars like pear and peach nectars, juices, any kind of fruit juices, cane juices, or any mention of sugar or sweetener. Also, something new out is palm sugar. Um, Also, you're going to find this in evaporated sugars as well as honey, too. Sugars have an addictive potential because this is what happens in your brain. You eat it, you consume that sugar, and your brain releases opioids and dopamine into your brain. So that makes you feel good. These increase your release of serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter, and that gives you a quote unquote happy feeling. Simply put, eating sugar causes chemical changes in your brain that make us feel good. And once that feeling has worn off, we're left wanting more. Looking at my very rudimentary diagram here, start with the little guy holding a lollipop. Okay, and we're going to move to the left and down. So, in this little circular diagram here, this is how it goes. Sugar is absorbed into our blood as glucose, increasing our glucose levels. But that sugar intake also triggers our body to release insulin, which then normalizes that glucose level, which can then lead your brain to feel like it needs more, thus making you eat more sugar. Turns into this vicious cycle, leaving us always wanting more. So once our glucose levels reach a low, this can turn into sugar binging, a behavioral common effect of sugar addiction. I myself went through sugar addiction for years. And in another class, I'm going to talk about how I overcame that sugar addiction. So keep an eye out for that new class. Mercury, not the planet, but in our food system. Specifically for this course, in our fish. No, not all fish, just a few. But I want to stress that fish is an extremely healthy protein and still a great choice. I eat it at least twice a week. Mercury is a natural and man made substance, but unfortunately, mercury is working its way through the seafood chain. Mercury, also known as MEHG, toxicity or poisoning, is associated with our nervous system damage in adults and impaired neurological development in infants and children, affecting us on a cellular level. A few types which are known to have higher mercury levels are king mackerel, shark, and swordfish. Some fish safe to consume are salmon, sardines, and catfish. I personally love to eat salmon and tuna. However, there are many other safe fish to consume. You'll find one of my all time favorites listed in my Healthy Living Resources page on the homepage of my blog. If you'd like to find out more about safe fish to consume, at the end of these slides, you'll find a sources page. All right. I wanted to say thank you for being here, for choosing to learn more, put more knowledge at the forefront of the choices in your life. If you've enjoyed this class, please see my other classes on my blog under the Classes and Products tab. If you'd like to connect with me, you can find me here on these social media platforms or send me an email. And as always, when you're ready, I'll be waiting. I'm holding space for you when you are ready for a life or wellness coach. On each slide, you'll see a number in the bottom right corner of the page. These are the sources listed there. And these are the sources continued. Again, thank you so much for being here. And as always, when you need me, I'm here for you. Just reach out.